Today we are looking at Glencoe Course 2 Math, Lesson 3-2 on adding integers. Now yesterday we added some integers, but we used pop cubes. And we did that just to kind of play around and see what we could come up with and what we might see in terms of a pattern that we could use when adding integers. Today we're going to start by adding on a number line, and then we're going to finish by coming up with some rules that we can use to add any integers. Okay? So, let's start. We're going to use 4 plus 7, and we're going to use lots of different colors on my number line today. So, in the dark blue, I'm going to add 4 plus 7. Let's add another line just in case. Okay, if I'm going to add 4 plus 7 on the number line, I'm going to start with an open circle at 4, and I'm going to move 7 units in the positive direction. That's 7 units to the right. Okay? I'm going to use what I like to call the bunny hop method, which means that we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you end up with an open circle. Open circle to start, closed circle to finish. The first number tells us where we start on our number line. The second number tells us how far and in what direction we're going to move. Where did I end up?
11.
I ended up at 11. Does 4 plus 7 equal 11?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So we know that it works. We know that if we have a positive plus a positive, we get a positive. Cool. Let's look at if we had 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 2. If I start out at negative 3, I'm going to move 2 units in the negative direction. If I move in the negative direction, I'm going to move to the left. Okay? So that's 1, 2 hops, filled in circle, and I end up at where?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. Huh. Okay? So I had a positive plus a positive, and I got a positive. A negative plus a negative gave me a negative. Okay? That makes sense.
Yes.
Alright. Let's see what happens if we have one of each. Let's see what happens if we had something like 5 plus negative 3. That means that I'm going to start at positive 5. How many units am I going to move?
3.
3. Am I moving in the positive or negative direction?
Negative.
Which says I move in which way?
Left.
Left. I'm going to move left 3. 1, 2, 3.
2.
That gives me a positive 2.
It's positive.
Right. It's 2 and it's positive. Alright? So, in this example, we started with the positive, we added a negative, and we got a positive. Right?
Yes.
Okay? Let's do another one. We're doing lots of examples today. Let's say that we had 3 plus negative 5. So that tells us I'm going to start at 3, and I'm going to go 5 units to the left because that's the negative direction. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's negative 2. Okay, now I'm confused because we had a positive plus a negative, and this one was positive. I had a positive plus a negative, and that one was negative. What do you think? Yes, ma'am.
5 was more, and that made that a positive, and then the -5 was more, and that made that.
Okay, so every positive is going to be greater than every negative. So what was more? What was that word we looked at on Monday? Started with an A. Does anybody remember what that was? What was that A word that we used from Monday?
Absolute value.
The absolute value. So when you said that it was, hold on. So when you said that it was greater, were you talking about the absolute value being greater?
Yes.
But, yes.
Yes. All right, and tell me again, what does absolute value mean?
No.
Absolute value means no?
I mean, oh,
What does the absolute value mean? Who can tell me that? Yes, ma'am.
like a whole number.
Like a whole number. In reference to what?
Positive numbers.
Okay. Our absolute value tells us how far from 0 on the number line something is. Okay? So, 5 is 5 units from 0 on a number line. -3 is 3 units from 0 on a number line. Okay? So you think that the answer to those problems is going to be somewhat related to absolute value?
Yes.
Okay. Let's try it if we have negatives in front. Because these two problems both had a positive to start with, correct?
Yes.
Let's see what happens if we start with a negative. Because believe it or not, I still have more colors. And if we have more colors, we can do more problems. All right, let's start. Shh. I'm gonna use my light blue. And we're gonna make sure that we've got this right. Can I have a negative number between 1 and 10? Yes.
8.
Okay, so -8. Let's do -8 plus 4. Okay? -8 plus 4. That would tell us to start at -8. And we're going to move 4 units positive, 4 units to the right, correct? Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I said that.
Okay, some of us did predict that our answer was going to be -4. Which has a greater absolute value here?
8.
4.
8.
The -8 has a greater absolute value.
Oh, yeah, because
If here's my number line, -8's way over here, 4 is only here. Which is further away?
8.
The -8. Okay, so -8 has a greater absolute value. Ladies and gentlemen, if I asked you to graph an addition problem on a number line, could you do it?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good. Do we want to have to use a number line with every problem?
No.
No! We don't want to have to draw number lines all the time. So what we did is we came up with rules for integers. This is our first set of integer rules, and this is what happens when we add. In the work zone space on page 204, you need to write what I write. Okay? We have a positive plus a positive, that equals a positive every single time. When we first learned how to add, when we were in kindergarten and in first grade, the only numbers that we knew were positive. And those equaled positive numbers. Okay? A negative plus a negative equals a negative. Every single time. Okay? Because if we start on the negative side and we move in the negative direction, we're going to get more negative. Okay? So that would equal a negative. Now, if we have a positive plus a negative, or a negative plus a positive, that equals, shh. Here's what we do. Hold on. Hold on. we are going to subtract and keep the sign of the greater absolute value. Okay? If the signs are different, we're going to subtract the two numbers and keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So let's check. 4 plus 7, positive plus positive is a
11.
positive. Okay? 4 plus 7 is 11. Does that work? Yes. Next to the pencils, dear. Alright? I have a negative plus a negative, so my answer should be negative. 3 plus 2 equals? Did we get negative 5?
No, yes.
Yes, we did. Okay? Put those back next to the pencils, please. Here, if I have 5 minus 3, I get 2.
Positive.
5 minus 3 is 2. Which has a greater absolute value, 5 or negative 3?
5.
So my answer would be?
2.
Okay, we're not listening to my questions. Let's try this. Let's try it again. 5 minus 3 is 2. Which has a greater absolute value, 5 or negative 3?
Negative 3. 5.
5 has a greater absolute value. So that means that my answer will be positive. Okay? What is 5 minus 3?
2.
2. Did we get a 2? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, which has the greater absolute value? 3 or negative 5?
3. 5.
I don't have a 5. I have a 3 and a negative 5, which has the greater absolute value.
Negative 5.
So then my answer should be negative. Was our answer negative?
Yes.
Okay. 8 minus 4 is?
4.
Which has the greater absolute value? Negative 8 or positive 4?
Negative 8.
So our answer should be?
Negative 4.
Was it? Do our rules work?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about what we've done so far today?
No.
Okay. Now, here's my last question to you. What if I had 3 different terms? What if I had 3 numbers in a problem? What do you think we would do? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you think we would do? What do you think we would do if we had 3 terms?
Oh. Wait, which one are you?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I want
Like, if it's 2 negatives and a positive, I think it'll come out a negative because it has 2 of the negative numbers and only 1 of the positive.
Okay. And sometimes that would happen. But it depends on what our negative values are and what our positive values are. What I want to know is how would we solve it? What would I do? Yes, ma'am.
You work from the left to the right, and whatever has the greatest absolute value, you would use their sign.
Okay. So, guys, just work from the left to the right. If there are 3 terms, add 2 of them together, then add that sum to the 3rd value, to the 3rd term. Break it down into smaller chunks. You don't have to do it all at once. Break it down. Okay, does anyone have any questions before we move on? Thank you very much.